Well, good evening and welcome everyone in for another edition of Fans React Friday. I'm glad to say that I am joined by a couple of very knowledgeable associates with me tonight. Firstly, we have got Mr. Dom. Dom, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
No, not so bad, not so bad. And we've also got Speakman's number one fan in Alex. Alex, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, still flying off that result on Wednesday night. To be honest, looking forward to tomorrow's game.
I know. I think we're all still a little bit buzzing after that, but probably in true Sunderland fashion, be let down
Yeah,
as only Sunderland could on Saturday. But we are supposed to have Johnny here as well, but apparently he's having boiler issues, so he could be here in the next couple of minutes, or might not even turn up at all, like some of our men do, aka Gary Pearson, that never comes on. But yes, so I'll have a little look in the live chat, see who's here. Dom multitasking as he does. Clayton Edwards, hello Clayton. Jeff's in, and we've got the Dave the Rave, of course. We love Sunderland. SAFC Fans React crew. Indeed, Dave, that is us, and we're ready to have a little chat about the couple of weeks, actually, couple of weeks that have been happening in Sunderland. But as always, I like to start when I host in chronological order. So I didn't really want to do it, but I thought we might as well just have a tiny segment about it. Of course, the 1-0 defeat to Middlesbrough. Some people call it a derby. They were calling it a derby on Sky, but I think the majority of us know that it's nowhere near a derby. But there you go. Sky knows everything apparently. But so Dom, I'll have a little. I'll come to you first, mate. 1-0. And of course the injury to Ross Stewart before the match. It's sort of we looked a little bit lost without him for that game. I don't know about you.
As far as bad days go, I think that has to be up there when you think we lose our main man in the warm up, which is never a good start to a so-called derby on national television under the lights. It's not what you need. And then the way we just not even started off, just the whole time, I never really thought we were that convincing. We'd have little flickers of light here and there where I thought, oh, we might build something, but it was either like that final pass just seems to just leave us. It just seems that the minute we're throwing goal, that just something has to get in the way, and then obviously the big blow of losing Sirkin as well. That is a huge loss, as well as Stewart as well. I don't think we really had, and it showed that we didn't really have a backup plan in us. But that being said, I think most people would agree that so far this season, that's by far the worst performance of the season, because it's the only game, in my opinion, that we haven't been in. I think even defeats to Norwich and Sheffield United, we've at least still give them a bit of a fight, but at the Riverside, there just seems to be nothing happening.
Yeah, it was a strange one. I mean, obviously with Mowbray, that's what sort of Blackburn fans were saying. When he was appointed, they said he's not really got a plan B, and I think we saw a bit of that. Johnny, hello, thank you for joining us.
All right, lads, how are you doing?
Are you doing right?
Yeah, just I mean, what you want to happen when you get in the shower is the hot water to go off. It's just up there with the best things that can happen in your life. It's great. I love being in 5-degree temperature water. Top notch.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you're here and you're happy and willing.
I'm here now, so it's looking up.
He's got his brew. You're ready to talk a bit of sense.
Well, that reminds me, the kettle's boiled.
I don't know about the talking sense bit, mate, but I'm here and I've got my cup of tea. That's what I can say for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're just briefly chatting about the Middlesbrough game. Seems as Don's legged it. Alex, I'll come to you. Talk talking about, Mowbray, Blackburn fans saying that he didn't really have a plan B, and I think that was quite evident in that match. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. But I mean, sort of, when Ross Stewart goes down injured, and we haven't got another forward, sort of an out-and-out 9 on the bench, then it's an issue, almost instantly, isn't it? And I think Roberts came in and was rightly in for some criticism. People should say that, players should stay ready, and perhaps he was, sort of physically ready, but psychologically, I mean, being told that, 5 minutes before a game that you're now going to be starting, it's got to psychologically, affect anybody, that really, hasn't it? Especially in such a intense atmosphere such as it was at the Riverside. But I think, looking over the course of the game, if Pritchard buries that chance, it's probably a very different game. And we did look a little bit lost around. Without Ross Stewart. But I think if you build a team around a player and he's removed, then that's natural, isn't it? And it was a shame because I didn't think Middlesbrough were that good, if I'm honest. Like I said, if that chance is buried, it's a different game. And I think even though we did lose the game and we didn't create too much, I didn't feel as though at any point that we were completely out of the game. So yeah, it's disappointing, but I mean, that's the worst we've played this season, and we narrowly lost 1-0 due to losing our best player. I think the signs are good that we can handle and cope in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you say, we've certainly, Dom referred to it earlier, we've definitely competed against the majority of teams that we played, other really than Borough. But even for about 10 minutes after the second half, we started to play a bit of football. And then what absolutely baffled me, I don't know about any of you, but just as sort of Pritchard and Roberts were beginning to link up very well, Mowbray then thought, oh, we'll take him off, we'll bring on Embleton and Diallo. I mean, Diallo looked lively, to be fair, but just at that period of time, them two seemed to just be to click in. So me and my dad were a little bit disappointed in that respect, and I think as soon as them changes were made, we just that, like you say, the final ball was just very, when it's not your day, it's not your day, and especially on a day like that, it's tough. But Johnny, I'll come to you, mate. Borough, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty similar thoughts to what's been said so far. It wasn't a brilliant game to watch, was it? Certainly not, the entertainment that we've seen in some of the other games we've played so far. And at the back end of last season, I think you're right about the substitutions. Pritchard especially, I feel like whenever we play well, a lot of it does tend to go through him. Even if it's just a sort of build-up play, he links, the left flank and the right flank quite nicely. He's capable of switching the play. So when he goes off, it's obviously going to have an impact on the team. Like, he's got a central role. So he's always going to be involved, which is a good thing when he's on form. But then when you take him out, similar to Stewart, obviously, it's been spoken about at length, but, taking him out right before kickoff, everything goes through him. So it affects his team. Same with Pritchard, even when he goes off. But I feel like it's probably an ongoing fitness issue with him, because I think the last couple of managers we've had now have seemed to pretty regularly around the hour mark of games take Pritchard off, regardless of how well he's playing or not, or whether the system's working. I mean, I'd rather him play 60 minutes every game than be injured for 8 weeks. But maybe it's just something to keep an eye on, because it'd be a little bit of a concern if he can't last 90 minutes. But in terms of how we played, it was, Stewart goes off injured in the warm-up. It's obviously going to throw a massive spanner in the works, and it showed. And I think obviously we'll talk about the Reading game in due course, I'm sure. But I think it was the Borough game was kind of the polar opposite reaction to what we had when Sims went off the other night, where everyone galvanised and sort of rallied round and put in a real show. Whereas against Borough, it was very much the kind of deer in the headlights. Like you say, Robert's not expecting to be on the pitch, and then all of a sudden he's starting, and systems are getting tweaked. And I just think everything that could have gone against us pretty much went against us. And like Alex said, Borough weren't great. They just capitalised on us having a moment of extreme weakness, which, I mean, it's going to happen at this level, isn't it? You've come up from League One. The teams are sharper. They're more ruthless. They're going to put more chances away. And if you miss that chance that Pritchard misses after, 8 minutes or whatever it was, you miss that in League One, you might get another 2 before the end of the half. Miss that in the Championship and you know, locked out for the rest of the game. So I wouldn't read too much into it. Just had to be against them, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, but you could tell sort of from the off, we were really up against it. You know, they were really sort of fired up for it. And I think you just tell, even though, you know, like Alex said, you know, they didn't really even play that against us. But look, that's on the back burner now. You know, we can forget about that and move on to a little bit more positive things to talk about. Of course, obviously, the Millwall game was cancelled, as were a few of the weekend's fixtures due to the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. It gave us a nice extra few days to prepare for a reasonably tough game against Reading away, you know. Won the last 4 out of 5, you know, and plus we're actually winless on Sky going into Wednesday's game.
Every stat's made to be broken, Ben. Every stat's made to be broken. Don't read into that sort of mumbo jumbo.
My dad said, "Have you heard this stat?" And I said, "Oh no." He said, "Oh, try and get it in on the stream if you can." So I think that one in because he's so impressed with Dom, the stat man. He said, try and get one in there. So I thought,
everyone's trying to one up Dom with the stats here. We had Alex with a full-on statistical breakdown in the WhatsApp group.
I was like, I was proper fuming at that. I was like, you're coming for the crown at this point. It's all I've got. It's all I contribute.
But obviously, what a fantastic performance by the lads. 3-0 away from home. Not really a bad word to be said. Dom, I'll come to you. 3-0. What a win, right?
I know. It's like you said earlier, like the what Johnny said. Sorry, just the polar opposite reaction of the Borough game. The minute Sims went down, and I don't think I'm the only one. When he first went down before he got took off, everyone was like a bit, shit, it's going to happen all over again. It's just going to be Middlesbrough all over again. But Tony Mowbray, you've just got to give props to, because the way he handled that was like an absolute champion. It just completely brought some life into the game. And we were saying when I was watching it, the fact that there's no striker in the box for proper striker for Patrick Roberts, it kind of opens him up more because there's no one to be like passing into. It gives him the space to make his own space in the box. There's no teammates to be like moving around. Gives him a chance to cut in and get some chances at goals, which he got, obviously, a brace. And both of them were just things of beauty, really. The way he just spun past one and then the other, putting ones on the floor. It was that's who Patrick Roberts is. That's the Patrick Roberts we were looking for. And I think just without that little bit of fresh air before halftime, I don't think we would have went on to win the game in the manner we did, especially how when you think we've got no strikers, what do we can't exactly just whack anyone up top and just hope for the best. But in terms of the third goal, like, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it on YouTube because it is just like
it's not 9 o'clock yet. It's not 9 o'clock yet, lads. We're gonna have to park that one.
With it being post watershed, I don't know how we run the risk, because it was just absolute unadulterated filth. Wasn't it? Just straight from the keeper, like Pep's Barcelona out there. It was a thing of beauty. Our mini Messi getting involved as well, and then Jack Clark. What a finish. Things like that, you just have to just sit back. No matter who you support, and just go, that's just beautiful, beautiful football. So overall, no striker, no problem.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. I think, like you say, Don, we were all a little bit like, Well, I certainly was. At the telly, I was just thinking, oh, shit. As soon as Sims went down for that third time, I thought, oh, here we go. What are we going to do now? And then, from Mowbray going to making substitutions that killed the game against Borough, he brought on Embleton, who pretty much had a hand in both of them goals, 3 minutes after he came on, an inspired change by him, which probably changed the game in a way. Because like you say, Dom, I wasn't too sure, with that sort of first half an hour before Sims went off, that we would actually, get anything from the game. Really, it looked a little bit sort of stop and start up until then. But
excuse me,
Alex, I'll come to you, mate. You happy with that performance, or are there still a bit of room for improvement? Or
No, it was brilliant. And just if there's any Reading fans watching, I'm sorry, but before I go into compliment us, Reading were absolutely shite. I just they're absolutely horrendous. They're in such a false. Well, I haven't watched them in length over the course of the season, but for them to be sort of where they are in the table, and based on how they played against us, was it's such a false position, it would seem. But yeah, I'd sort of reflect what Dom says, really, whereby we're in complete control of the game with Sims on the pitch, and I thought, actually, to be fair to him, that he was playing really well up until the moment he went off. There was a particular moment in the game where I think it was like a 50-50 ball, and he knocked it past the defender and just sprinted past him. It was ridiculous. He just left the defender for dead, and even my missus went, God, he's fast. So he was just coming into the game, and unfortunately he had to go off, and it was like, oh God, not this again, losing another striker. But thankfully Patrick Roberts stepped up, and two fantastic finishes. And I must say, with how sort of explicit that third one is, the first two from Roberts, I think, have kind of lost some fame, because they were brilliant finishes. Just the confidence. I mean, if you look at Roberts from the game he played against Middlesbrough, opposed to how he played against Reading, with the cheeky tongue out after the goals and stuff, he was just absolutely loving it. And like many of us, I think when Embleton came on the pitch and it wasn't, Diallo, for example, I was kind of like, well, this is a bit of a silly sub, isn't it? Like, I thought we were going to just, grind in for the point. But then when you look how Embleton actually plays, picking up that ball from the 8, which I prefer him in, actually, opposed to a 10 or wide, and he picks up the ball and he drives forward, and it brought Clark and Roberts into the game. And like Dom said, they created the space for themselves to score the goals like Roberts did. And I think, the third goal, at the time of it happening, I wasn't actually so appreciative of how good a goal it was, because I was just watching the ball, wanting to finish it off. But then when it was on the replays, I was like, wow, what a goal. And it reminded me, that pass from Dan Neil reminded me of Jordan Henderson's pass to Asamoah Gyan away at Wigan. I think we drew 1-1 in 2010. It was like almost the same ball. Fantastic night, fantastic result, and on to tomorrow now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so Johnny, I'll come to you with this. I mean, obviously there was a little bit in sort of changing tactics when Sims came off, Embleton came on. I wasn't too sure where it was sort of like a 4-2-3-1, or if it was just like a 4-1-2-3 in a way, with Embleton and Neil, Evans a bit deeper, and then Roberts and Clark out on the wings. But I think with this now, seeing how good we can be, even just imagine if we had Stewart up front, there, instead of Pritchard having to do that false 9 role. Roberts saw a lot more of the ball, completely different player than what we'd seen. We know he's got the ability, Mowbray know it, but not something we'd really seen. So now, I mean, obviously Sims is a bit touch and go for tomorrow about about the injury. Would you sort of keep it that way? Would you maybe put Pritchard in that centre forward, or do you think maybe Diallo might get a start?
I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be Tony Mowbray making that call, because I mean it's a nice headache to have when you've got systems that work sort of out of the blue. But whichever way he goes, obviously in the playing squad, somebody's going to be disappointed. And if he, whatever call he makes, if it doesn't come off, you'll have people then questioning it. Should he have gone the other way? Should he have played it safe and stuck Sims up front? Or if he plays Sims and he's not quite 100% and he breaks down after half an hour, 40 minutes, it's, well, why did you play him when he's not 100%? What I did really like about the change of system, though, is I think firstly it's massive credit to Mowbray for being brave enough to make a change like that, because like you said, I think probably 80% of us were expecting Diallo to come on, or at least an explicitly attacking player, and to try and sort of do that, square peg in a round hole, do a job for 60 minutes and then we'll reassess next week. But I actually think that system kind of brings the best out of the three midfielders and the two wingers, because obviously when we've got, it was more of a four at the back for certain. I think I'd call it like a 4-3-3 with Evans at the base of that midfield, the two either side, then you've got the more orthodox wingers. I think that suits Roberts, it suits Clark. The three in midfield I thought were phenomenal. At times it looked like we were playing against 10 men. I mean, Reading couldn't get near us, and that's partly them being terrible, as Alex said. But I mean, Evans was just dictating the game, dictating the tempo. Neil was able to show his class on the ball. Yeah, Corey Evans, mate. Corey Evans, the fan club. It's your premonitions were right. But Evans did all the simple stuff perfectly. It gives Neil more of a platform to take the ball on. I thought Embleton, like you said, Alex, was really good in a sort of more almost box-to-box type role. Yeah. Driving forward, I thought that was that unit, that three in midfield, it was just, I thought it was phenomenal. And I also want to give a special mention to Adji Elise, because I thought he was tremendous at left back. I think it was his first full start in like a professional league match. And to be arguably slightly out of position as somebody who was brought in primarily as a centre half, I thought he was fantastic. So I think when we've got everyone in that setup, we actually look like we can control games and really put teams under extended periods of pressure, which I think is something we've been lacking for a while. So yeah, big shout out to Mowbray as well for seeing that and being brave enough to put that into practice halfway through the first half when you've just gone down to 0 fit strikers in your squad. I thought that was great. So I won't be disappointed at all if he keeps it the same and we see Pritchard lining up in that false 9 role tomorrow. I think, if Sims isn't quite ready, there's no need to rush him back. It's not like it's a must-win game. I know we want to pick up as many points as we can, but, come the end of the season, I don't think, being a bit cautious with Sims tomorrow is going to be the make or break between staying up and going down. So I think it's, I'd be happy to see the same. The only thing I think, if we do transition to that system for any period of time, is it leaves Pritchard in a bit of a limbo, because as good a job as he did and as quality a player as he is, in that sort of 4-3-3 setup, there isn't a classic 10. And like you said, imagine seeing Stewart at the tip of that formation. But if Stewart comes in, where does that leave Pritchard? Because he's not going to play out wide, because Roberts and Clark, who were both brilliant, Roberts especially, as Dom and Alex have both said, he was top notch. That's their positions to lose. And like I said, the midfield three I thought looked really well balanced. So if you do stick with the formation that's just got you a 3-0 win away from home against a team who were unbeaten at home, does that mean you drop one of your best players? I mean, I don't know. So Mowbray's going to have a headache, but fingers crossed whatever he goes with is enough to deliver the 3 points, because that's the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think, it's interesting what you say with that, that 4-3-3. I think we're playing to what our strengths are at the minute, which is out wide.
When you've got about 9 wingers in the squad.
I know, yeah.
You're not going to play with wing backs for a season, are you?
And only 2 strikers, it's...
Yeah.
Renete looked really good when he came on as well. I mean, his first taste of English football, can't even speak the language, and I think his first touch, I think Gooch sprayed a ball right across the park to him. He's brought it down.
Took it down on the touchline.
And then started sprinting at their defender. I was like, we could have a player here.
I thought he was almost unlucky not to score when he,
Yeah.
when he got in.
thought
I
that
think
too.
was it Diallo played the ball in behind for him,
Yeah.
and he ran onto it. I thought that was cracking play from both of them.
Yeah, I mean, the both of you have really just come on to my next point, really. So thank you for that.
We're all on the same page, mate.
I know, we're just too connected, but
exactly. We're like Evans, Embleton, and Neil, mate. We're all just on the same wavelength all the time.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. We're all on it. But some standout performers, obviously, as you highlighted. Elise, his first championship start. I was a bit apprehensive at first, being how he played against Sheffield Wednesday in the cup. But to be honest, I don't think anybody could have shined themselves in much glory in that game. But to come and play how he did, in doing so well, I think I was a bit surprised at first. But infuse and say we've got a potentially great young player here that's that can play in the middle or on that left hand side where we know we've not got that much cover. So I think he's really going to be an asset this season.
It's what we've been screaming for behind Sirkin, isn't it? Like how many times last season were people saying Sirkin needs a rest? He looks a bit short. He needs some time out with the team. I mean, from what he showed against Reading, Elise, it's just the perfect replacement, isn't he? He can do everything Sirkin can with added physicality. If that game's anything to go by, so long may it continue.
And he looks like Kenwyn Jones.
I think that should be a prerequisite for every signing from now on, to be honest. I want a team of 11 Kenwyns.
Yeah. Oh dear. But obviously, Alex, you brought up about Jewison Bennett, his lovely little cameo that he had. First competitive match in English football, the ball gets pinged over him to the other side of the pitch, first touch, bang, away he goes. And then I think the second time he had it on the touchline, he was 1-on-1 and then just a little scoop over the defender's leg and belted it down the touchline. And me and my dad were looking at each other thinking, we've got a little player here, got the confidence to do that in your first ever game in England. That can only be a good sign for our little Costa Rican boy. But Dom, I'll ask you, I think Mowbray, obviously we know he's good with young players, but to be able to bring the likes of Diallo and Bennett on in a game like that with sort of 10, 15 minutes to go, surely that's got to give them, a lot of confidence, moving on to the remaining games of the season.
Oh, absolutely. Wait, talking about Bennett, he's an international for a reason. I think if Mowbray and the rest of the coaching staff nurture him properly, we could have a proper player on our hands here, boys. I remember, just like Yusuf all said, like when he first came on with about 15 minutes to go, that first touch in the way he just darted. You could see what he was going to do the minute he brought it down. You knew he was just going to sprint towards the goal, and I was just looking at some of the way he was looking. He had like fight in his eyes, just the way he wanted to just get the ball forward and just get as many attacking options as we could. That's what you want to see, no matter what time of the game it is, whether it be kick-off, last 15, whatever. If that is attacking mentality, it shows that obviously he wants to prove himself in the biggest pyramid in the sport, and he obviously has been told by the coaching staff, just go give it to them, just prove to us why we've brought you over here. And same goes for Diallo. Like we already knew Diallo had class in him with obviously being at Man United and his spell at Rangers. We knew the class is there, but with Jewison, it's like completely unpredictable. No one really knows what to expect from him. So if that's his like 15-minute audition tape, I don't see a problem with him playing in the future at all. And I think in terms of giving the whole team confidence, when you're just bringing in those kinds of names like Diallo, like we brought in people who've played in Europa League, Champions League. We brought someone in from PSG. Just those kind of signings get you excited. I'm hoping I haven't jinxed it all with the whole Djago Bayern Munich thing, because we did have a bit of that last year. But like, I don't know. It just seems like it's very exciting at the moment to think that they're on the bench. We've got class on the substitute, and we've got class in the starting 11. It's just nice to see.
Yeah, and I think it's been a while.
Yeah,
since we can really get excited about a Sunderland team and think, blimey, we could do some real damage this season. But obviously, football being football, Tony Mowbray said it on his press conference, there'll be games that we look like Barca 08, and then there'll be other games that you'll say that's the worst I've ever seen them play. But
there'll be games we look like Sunderland from about 2014 to about 2021.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think Paul Ince in his post-match interview, I think summed it up very well, where he said, we made them look like Barcelona. And I think, yeah, because, they offered absolutely nothing, to be honest.
We beat Barcelona.
Barcelona can't even afford to get the plane over, man. They're in about 900 billion quid's worth of debt. We do them any day, man.
Alex, I'll come to you because I want to talk about one man in particular. I think that has been monumental for us this season, even in
Speakman.
It's not Tom, is it?
Oh, I just want to say, Alex, that little name you've got, wow, beautiful.
I mean, he's number 2, to be fair. So, well, you got to credit him so far. So no Speakman slate from me, for the time being, anyway. If Roberts gets injured on Saturday, then maybe I will. But
we should have signed some more wingers, shouldn't we? Because we don't have enough.
Yeah, we should have.
After we get spanked by Watford.
Oh yeah, But that's not going to happen, Tom. So we don't need to think about that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But who on my number one list? I don't know about any of you, but Danny Bart has been a real sort of talisman in our defence. I don't know if you agree, Alex, or if you just, how important, has he been so far this season and probably will be for the rest of the season?
Well, I think ever since the Bolton 6-0, where he scored a class header in the wrong goal, I think he's been brilliant since then. He just looks so calm on the ball, and I think for whether it's Elise, Sirkin, or Nine on the other side, that must be reassuring for them, knowing they've got such a calm, experienced head in between them. And against that Jow up front for them, Reading on Wednesday night. I mean, Reading might as well have just put a gnome up front because he just stood still, and Danny Bart just won everything in the air against him, and he just looks so calm. And I think he dropped into League One. We got him on a free transfer, brilliant business. But I think any team in the Championship, perhaps outside the top 6, would welcome Danny Bart in the starting 11 because he's just so calm and he wins everything in the air. He's strong. I mean, I don't know if you guys seen the YouTube feature with Embleton and Bailey Wright a couple of weeks back, but there was a question that said who's the hardest man who's the hard man in the team, and they're both Danny Bart.
I could imagine.
He's a force to be reckoned with, I think, and I'm happy we've got him.
A Brexit footballer, if you like.
Yeah,
absolute hard Brexit. Customs Union centre half, isn't he?
Did you know he's half Punjabi? I think he must be the first Punjabi to play for Sunderland.
Really?
Danny Bart,
Where has that come from?
You're pulling me leg.
That is absolute left field.
I'm no longer stop man. This man's the king.
I was going to say, Dom, I thought we would know
This man's the
that.
king.
Danny Bart is half Punjabi.
Wow.
Well, fair play.
If you didn't know that already, then you've certainly learned something today on the stream.
Every day's a school day at SAFC Fans React. Never forget.
Absolutely. Education.
Yeah.
So,
He actually is. He is.
That shows how much don't trust your stats, Alex. He's literally just Googled it.
No, his dad hails from Punjab. What? That's blown my mind.
Have you ever seen anybody look less Punjabi than a man
than Danny
Bart who plays centre half for Sunderland?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Alex. That was a very good plan. A lot better than my Sky one.
That is mind blowing.
That is a bit mind blowing.
Can I just say as well, on Wednesday's performances, I'm a huge fan of him, massive advocate of him. I know people are kind of on the fence with him and that. And I know it was Reading and they were very poor and we were 3-0 up. But I thought when Matete came on, he tidied up really well. He just plays that role of sort of mopping up really, really well, sort of, rolling the ball over. And he's got this real knack of he knows when a defender or a midfielder is going to lunge in. He puts his body right across them and he won us a foul right in the middle of the pitch. And like I say, we're 3-0 up and the game was won. But I'm just thinking, at some point in the season, he's very raw. He's got a lot to learn and as a footballer. But that sort of play, just breaking it down, recycling the ball and, winning fouls in key areas of the pitch and slowing the game down I think he's the perfect candidate to, we all know what Evans' injury record's like, and as good as he is. And I remember Alex Neil, dare I say his name, mentioned that they don't know whether Matete is a 6 or an 8 or is he a 10. I think he's got all the attributes to play that Corey Evans role really, really well.
Yeah, I think he certainly did impress when he came on, like you say, Alex, drawing them fouls, just, sitting in the midfield with his broom, just sweeping up anything that was going his way. And I think it's credit to them because, Elise and Matete, I think we all gave them a bit of a hard time after that EFL Cup game against Wednesday. We said, there's no way that these are going to get anywhere near this team. And then when they have their chance, certainly on Wednesday anyway, might only be one game, but they certainly did impress, which is good. And, Mowbray says, all positions are up for grabs. So, there might be a time this season that he will be called on, especially knowing Evans's injury record. Who knows? But he's certainly a string to our bow at Sunderland. I'm going to quickly come on to another player that I know that goes down very well with a certain couple of fellas in here. But I do.
Here we go.
Before I praise him, though, I will say, Johnny, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to out you, mate. But in our Fans React group, in our chat, Johnny quoted saying, I don't trust Luke O'Nien in a back four.
As if he's just thrown you under the bus.
Knew this day was coming.
But this is the vice chairman of the O'Nien fan club here at Fans React. And I wanted to say something then, but I thought, no, I'll leave it. I'll let it soak. Johnny, you've got to be eating your words now. I know it's only one game. I know that. I don't want to get too carried away. But he's doing a job. I don't know about you.
He was brilliant the other night, I thought. I mean, none of the players had a bad game. But yeah, he was great. But I think it ties back into what Alex was just saying, to be fair, or what you were saying, Ben, Money is saying about how calming it must be to have Danny Bart alongside you when you're he's not a young lad or 9 anymore. He's been at the club, 5 years? But he's an inexperienced Championship player, certainly, and he's an inexperienced centre half, really. He's never had like a full season start to finish playing in that position. So when you've got somebody alongside you who has that experience, is playing well, can help you through a game, I think it must be a big help. It's got to be part of the reason why he's looked so at home, because I think the biggest compliment you can give O'Nien this season is that every single position he's played, he's kind of made it look as if that is his position. I don't think I can think of a game this season where he's, started the game and I've looked at him and thought, you look like you don't really belong there. I think he's just got that knack of adapting to anywhere he needs to be on the tactics board, if you like. I did have my doubts, especially after the first, the early days in the season, where I think he came off the bench a couple of times and he wasn't covering himself in glory. And I think he played in midfield against Sheffield Wednesday, and but that was I think you can't really look into that performance for anyone, because we've spoken about Elise and Matete and how when they're not in a team that's made 11 changes, they look like different players. I think the same rings true for anyone. If you stick somebody in a team that's winning games and settled, they're going to look better than if you put them alongside 10 other blokes who they've not had a game alongside. But yeah, I think O'Nien so far this season is proven a lot of people wrong. And I hope it continues, because I think I originally said just before the season started that, all the people who were sort of vocally O'Nien out and wanted him to be sold and thought he wasn't good enough, I said, look, guys, it's fine. He's good enough to be in this squad. Now, yes, you might not want him to be the first name on the team sheet, certainly in midfield, but he's absolutely good enough to play minutes in the Championship and not let anyone down. And I think that's looking pretty spot on so far. I had a wobble. You've caught me in 4K. I had a wobble. All right. I was scared for him. I was worried for my boy.
Yeah. He's an absolute shithouse as well, isn't he?
He is. He's one of those players that you love him, and anyone else who plays against him must fucking hate him. Yeah. He loves to just wind people up and get in the faces, and like those awkward little, like he'll leave his body in the way of someone, and like when they're trying to get past him, or he'll just have a little niggle at someone, have a little word in their ear. He's the kind of player I used to love playing alongside in like Sunderleague. Like I used to play centre half, and the lad who used to play with us, he'd always just be chirping in the opposition centre forwards ear all game, and they'd get so wound up, and then they'd lose their heads. And I think you need that in your team to have a bit of bite and a bit of passion. I think O'Nien brings that in spades. So I think he's for me, probably one of the surprises of the season, really, because I don't think anyone expected to see him in a position where he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet, getting on towards a quarter of the season in, with the team doing well. That should add as the qualifier for that one. But yeah, long may it continue again. I hope he gets player of the season. Because he always will be in my heart.
I know. Go from the vice president to the president. Dom, come on. What do you
say? My right-hand man basically said everything that there is to say. Just everything about him. What can you say? If you ask him to play in goal, if Patterson goes and gets injured, don't put Bassett. Just put O'Nien in there. They'll probably just do it. Actually, no, he's a bit too short to be in goal. Never mind.
Whoa! Heightism is not allowed in this chat. All right.
I'm sorry. Only to bald people. I forgot about that. No offense to any bald people watching the chat. No, just everywhere he plays, like Johnny says, he looks comfortable. He's just one of them players who can fit anywhere. He was probably in Sunday League just the person who always came late and said, right, where hasn't been took? And so like, right, go there. Or whoever's injured, you're like, right, you're just going in there. And he does a shift no matter what. And that's the kind of person you need in your squad, whether that be someone that's going to come on in the second half and just calm everyone down a little bit, or he's going to start and just make things difficult from the get-go. It's just one of those players that is a manager's dream, but an opposition fan's nightmare, because, like you say, he's just going to be winding everyone up. He's going to be trying to get into everyone's head. And the minute that he sees red mist, he knows that he's won. So, yes, he's not the greatest, most let's say, naturally gifted person in our squad. I think if he tried to use his left foot, his wake foot, sorry, he'd have a nosebleed. But other than that, like, he's proven that he can play in this division. And yes, a lot of us, there's been times where he's let us down, but the whole team's let us down. So it's not exactly a individual mistake. So I have no problem with 09 dominating the championship, and long may it continue, because I pledge my allegiance to the Luke 09 flag.
When I think of Luke 09, remember when you're at school and you'd finish school and you'd be walking home, and there was always that one kid who would like tie the school tie around their head like Rambo.
Yeah, that's definitely Luke 09.
That is Luke 09, isn't it?
Yeah.
He is, yeah. He'd never get home from school without stains all up his trousers and his top and that. You know, running about the
just
yard.
Going around swat knotting everyone. He was just not one person who just get on your nerves.
Yeah.
But for me, he plays in defence or not at all, for me personally.
I do think centre-back is like where he looks the most comfortable of them all, for me at least.
I think he can fill in midfield and do a job, but I don't think I'd want to see him as a first name on the team sheet there. But you know, say Corey Evans picked up an injury and we stuck with a 3-man midfield, I think he could do the job of, you know, sweeping up at the base of the midfield. I wouldn't really want to see him sort of any further forward than the halfway line, because that's where I think problems start creeping in.
Yeah, holding midfield is definitely where the line stops for me.
If anyone listens to the Peter Crouch podcast, he strikes me as being extremely parched. He is the most parched player I've ever seen. And if you don't know what that means, it means somebody who just sucks up to the manager 24/7, trains as if they've got a gun to the head, like always like, yes, coach, I'll do that, coach. He gives me proper like teacher's pet, but also when the back's turned, like Alex said, proper cheeky chappy.
Yeah.
I think we've all said it though. He's the kind of person you need around the squad, because how many times have we said over the horrible years at the end of the Prem stint and in League One, where we turn around and say, the squad's like, it's full of chances, it's full of wasters, they don't want to be here, mercenaries, people not putting a shift in, heads going down all over the place when we concede a goal. He's one of the players which I think we've got a lot of in the squad now, where I think we could be 6-0 down again, and he's still going to be there putting 110% in, running through brick walls. And if you've got that as the baseline in your squad with some quality on top, you're not going to go far wrong, are you?
Absolutely. Well said, the both of you, I must admit. Well said. You're certainly worthy title holders of the Luke 09 fan club. So, yeah, there we go. I'm going to quickly have a little gander in the live chat. I know I haven't had a little look in a while, so let's have a look who's here. Acacia's in. Eddie Bamber's in. Hello. Yes, of course, little advertisement there. It is quiz night next week. So make sure to get yourselves along. It should always be a laugh. Do we know who's doing the quiz? Or
I've got an unfortunate bit of news though, lads. I won't actually be able to make it next week because it's my birthday on Saturday next week. So I'm going back up to the fatherland in Durham and
God's country.
Going to God's country, and I've got to see my family and be around my parents and siblings.
He's scared.
What can I say?
What you can do, Johnny, just put the laptop in your living room and everyone else can join in as well.
Exactly.
You can all join in on the quiz. I think
he lost it last month on a Luke 09 question. He's been scared ever since.
That's funny because I don't actually remember ever participating in a quiz before. So
that's funny because it is live. It is on YouTube. If you want to go a few videos back.
Must be fake news that. So unconfirmed reports coming in, but don't pay them any mind, lads.
Anyway, moving on. Davy Rowe is in. Mr. Matthew Lead is in. Sims injured. It's Speakman's fault. Probably is. Patrick's in. Jeff's in. DJ Sizzler Watson. Steve Usher's in. Charlie Rohan in. Going for a 2-1 win against Watford. Matthew saying, why is everyone drinking out of the mugs? Where are the cans? Well, Matthew, I've got a can here. Everyone else is on the
I've got a
tea.
glass, mate.
Alex has got
some
an. So
of us have got to go to work tomorrow, unfortunately. So,
Durham boys love a brew.
why
Patrick's in. Joanne Punchin's in. Hello, Joanne. Ben Allison is in, and Ethan Dixon's also in as well. So thank you for joining us. So yeah, I guess sort of the next sort of thing to quickly get ourselves on is obviously probably be a mixed bag tomorrow, I reckon, against Watford. Not started the season very well, but we certainly know they've got some very good players in their team that can definitely cause us some problems. So, Dom, I'll come to you first, mate. Watford away, tough game. What are your thoughts?
Oh, proper. Probably one of the toughest we're going to get all season. I think it's never really an easy place to go, Vicarage Road, because, they always love to give it to whoever comes, really. But when you think of the situation we're in, we've got no fit strikers, really. Sims is very 50-50. Mowbray said today, this is the quote, he said, worst comes to worst, if he can't make tomorrow, we have a 2-week break, and I'm sure he'll be fine after that. Personally, I wouldn't risk playing Sims, because in the longevity of things, we need both Stewart and Sims fit together. So really risking it is not something that I would like to see play out. I think if we just stuck to the formula that won us the game on Wednesday, I don't think many people would have a problem with that. They've obviously got big names in their team. They've got Ismail Assar, João Pedro, who is creating loads of chances for them. You've got those big players, and obviously they're one of the favourites to go up. So you do need to just put things into perspective sometime. I think regardless of who wins, it'll be a hard-fought game, as most of our games have been. They'll be tough, they'll be physical, be not one for the purists, as we like to say on this channel.
6, though, don't mind.
Well, we'll just have to say, personally, I think we've got it in us to get the job done, and fingers crossed, no matter what Mowbray does with the team, I think he's got it in him. He's got the experience. He's got the nous to get the job done and field the right team.
Yeah, Johnny, you agreeing, or are you a little bit more pessimistic?
I agree that I'd probably line up the same as we finished. Well, not the same as we finished, but the same as when we changed the team against Reading. I think if there's any doubt that Sims is 100% fit, you just leave him out. Like I said earlier, it's not a must-win game. I know you want to win every game, but it's early doors still in the season, and it's not. We don't need to be making those kind of risks when we're not in a sort of life or death situation as it stands, and fingers crossed going through the season we don't end up in one. In terms of how confident I am about getting a result, I'm a lot more on the fence because, as we've touched on, Watford haven't had the best start, certainly compared to what they were predicted pre-season. Obviously, most people having them favourites to battle it out for the title with Norwich, but they are a tough opposition. They've got single players who are worth probably as much, if not a bit more, than our squad. And obviously they have to perform on the day, but it's the kind of firepower that we wouldn't turn down. It's away from home, like Dom said. Vicarage Road, tough place to go. They'll be backed well, I would imagine, because their fans will be hopeful for a successful season. So it's going to be one of those games where I think it's all going to come down to who adapts better on the day, because I think Watford will have likely been preparing for us to play a certain way. And then that's potentially gone out the window with what happened against Reading. So we could spring a surprise for them. Equally, it could backfire and they could overpower us physically if we've only got Pritchard as a false 9, and they could turn the game. You could sort of turn that strategy from us on its head and get on top that way. So I think it'll come down to who plays the game on the day better. which actually I back Mowbray for, because, like I said before, he deserves massive credit for being very pragmatic against Reading and recognising where our strengths were. So, you know, I'm fairly confident in us to put in a good showing, but at the end of the day, they're a good team, and, you know, they'll see off a lot better sides than us in the league this season. So if we do come away with a poor result, then it's definitely not the end of the world, and we can go again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have to agree with that. Alex, you know, Watford only won one of the last 7. You know, do you think we might be able to spring a bit of a surprise?
Well, to be honest, going into this week's fixtures, Reading and Watford away, I'd have took looking at them both. I was thinking, well, maybe 2 points, 2 away games. You know, don't get beat. Take a point from each of them. We've got 3 from Reading. So as long as tomorrow, I wouldn't mind. I know it sounds awful, but if we lost, I wouldn't be, you know, gutted. As long as we compete and put in a performance. Obviously, I expect us to go and try and win the game, which I think we will. I personally think Sims won't play. I think that's Mowbray playing complete mind games to keep Watford guessing as to will we play with a striker, will we not? Because if if Mowbray comes out and says, yeah, he's not playing, then they're just going to set up to play to combat a false 9 formation. So I think he's trying to keep Watford guessing there up until 2 p.m. tomorrow when the teams are out. 1 win in 6, like you say, or 1 win in 7. I've only watched them a couple of times this season. Didn't look too bad. Looked at a decent championship side, as the other lads have touched on. They've got some quality individuals in that team. Rob Edwards as well. I like him as a manager. I know when Alex Neil got the job, the club spoke to him sort of informally, and he was one that I would have liked to have us seen bring in. Young English manager on the up and did a fantastic job at Forest Green. So what I'm trying to say is Watford are no mugs, despite the fact that they've had a tough time as of late. They had a bit of a, don't know if you lads seen it, there was a bit of ruptures with their own supporters at the weekend. After Blackburn midweek, and it kind of reminded me of us, of the old. It's nice not to have a team that we're proud of for a change, and perhaps people could view that as a good chance to go and play Watford. Maybe the morale's low, the team aren't aligned with the fans, so on and so forth. I think they're there for the taking. As I say, I'd be absolutely delighted with a point. If we can win, then brilliant. But like I said, as long as we compete, and in the words of Lee Johnson, there's some great philosophy and application. I'd be more
nice
than happy
bloke.
with a good, nice bloke. I'd think a win and a loss from 2 away games midweek at a team that like Johnny said before hadn't lost at home. And for a team that are expected to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, for where we're at as a club, and I imagine 85% of the supporters' expectations this season is a nice mid-table, comfortable finish, and win one, lose one gets you that. I think if we go down there, compete, perhaps don't pick up a point or don't pick up the 3. We've had a go. We move on to after the international break at home to Preston, but I think a point would be an absolutely fantastic result.
Yeah, I think I'll have to agree. To be honest, I think I'd be more than happy with a point away from home. So quickly, I'm going to get everyone's hot takes before we end. So, Dom, score prediction tomorrow. What are you thinking?
Oh God, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the heart, full on confidence. Why not? Let's say a 2-1 win. They average exactly a goal a game, so I do think they will get on the sheet. But I do think we've got it in us to do the business. However, as Rain and Statman, I do have some things that might rain on the parade a bit.
Come on, give
any guesses to the last time we won a Vicarage Road? What
2005?
Nope.
No, 2016.
Nope. Ben?
Oh dear. Maybe in the 90s.
November 1999 was the last time we won at Vicarage Road. It was in the Premier League. We won 3-2 thanks to a Super Kev brace and a goal from Gavin McCann. So we are going into this looking to, like you said earlier, stats are there to be broken.
How many times have we played them there, though, between now and then?
I think, I want to say 8.
Really? Wow.
So that's how far.
I thought we won in 2016, but we got a draw. But what broke my brain was that Jack Rodwell scored in the Premier League for us that day. So reality imploded on itself for a bit.
Yeah. The less said about that, the better, I think.
Christ, aye.
Guys in the live chat, please pop your predictions in. We'll read a few out before the end. Johnny, what are you saying?
Heart is saying we'll win because we're playing well, and thinking about Sunderland losing just makes me sad. So I don't like doing that. But my head says that if there's any time you want to play Sunderland, it's when you're on a run of not winning many games. You've got discord between the manager, the fans, and the players, and you really, really need something to go for you and pick you out of the rut. Because how many times have we played somebody where the striker's not scored in 15 games and he gets a hat trick? Or, I remember in the Premier League one time we played, it might have been QPR, I think. And I think they hadn't even picked up a point on the road all season up to that point. It was like December time, I think. We played them at home. And obviously we got beat for them to get that. Like, they hadn't even drawn away from home. And come to the stadium and Sunderland roll over and let you tickle the bellies. So I think I'm going to probably predict I'm going to say a narrow 2-1 defeat. But I think we'll play well. And, we could nick it, but I think on the balance of it, I think Watford probably win the day.
It's my night ruined.
Now everyone go and cry, all right?
Go cry.
Come on, Alex, cheer us all up. What do you think? You predicting a win? Come on.
I think I speak for us all. First and foremost, obviously, Sunderland fans, but as lovers of football, I just want to see a good game of football. And I think throughout this season in the Championship, watching Sunderland play, I think bar probably the Middlesbrough one, every game has been a good game. I think, your likes of the Coventry game where we were winning and perhaps didn't pick up the 3 points and settle for one, was these teams that have that extra little bit of quality that can find that final ball, can find that finish, such as Gyökeres when he scored that belter. And I think, Watford have a lot of players capable of punishing us, a lot of individuals. So I'm going to go with, I fancy us to win 1-0. And I'm going to go His Highness, the Punjabi Prince, Daniel Tanvir. To get on the score sheet.
Oh, the Punjabi Prince, that is special.
Punjabi Prince.
Just regardless of the result, I think we're a young, aspiring, attacking football team. It's enjoyable to watch for once. We've got a team we can be proud of, and based on the lads who won 3-0 on Wednesday night, we've still got that Edward Michu and the sheep to come in. So, it's like, by sheep, I mean Abdullah Ba. But
yeah, pick that one up.
I do fancy us tomorrow. Daniel Tanvir Bar off a corner.
Aye, someone get a flag made of this, because this is
Punjabi Prince. That's
Punjabi
brilliant.
Prince.
I want that to catch on.
Punjabi Prince, all right. So we just need to get that in a chant somehow, and then get that going every game.
Can I just butt in quickly? I've got 2 more things I forgot to say that'll lift the spirits as well. As long as they haven't won in 7, like you say, they haven't kept a clean sheet in 5. So make of that what you will. And we're second in the league away from home. So just take that to bed with you and see how that lies.
Wow.
That almost sounded threatening.
Yeah.
Go to sleep. thinking, well, you told everyone to cry, so I'm trying to
It's been
lift the
an
spirits of them.
aggressive fans react, lads. Clearly, having a week
chaotic.
having a week off hasn't agreed with us. I don't think we've all got a lot of pent up rage. We've got to let out on the unsuspecting public.
I'll bear that in mind when I go to bed and snuggle into
Yeah,
me Danny
you
Bart.
better do that.
When I get me little bit of sleep paralysis tonight, all I'm going to be seeing is Ben's face staring over me.
Oh God!
Dear.
What has this become? What has this become?
I'll have a little read.
If you haven't subscribed already, this would be a great time to do so.
Yeah, if you like content about Punjabi Sunderland players, sleep paralysis, and being threatened about what's going to happen to you when you go to bed, subscribe to SFC Fans React here on YouTube.
Tune in next week for the quiz.
Question 1: where do you live?
Oh dear, I didn't like that.
That's a joke. I don't need to ask. I already know where everyone lives.
Oh. Anyway, moving on. James is saying I'll take a draw. Jack Ross special 1-1. Stuart Diggle's saying 1-1. Patrick's going 3-1 to Sunderland. RWA Productions are saying that Sarr is apparently out tomorrow against Watford, so that could be a bit of a good bit of news. Acacia saying 3-1. Watford will hand us our first battering of the season. I'm going for 4-0 Watford.
Christ.
Oh well, that's not very optimistic, is it? So I think I will end it with my optimism. So just in case, I didn't put that £5 bet on for the other week against Borough, and I'm glad I didn't. So people, please don't take any betting advice or score predictions from me, because it just doesn't. I'm just a little bit unrealistic in that sense. But I've been lucky enough to get a couple of tickets tomorrow, so me and my dad are going down. Looking forward to it. Should be hopefully, like Alex said, a good game of football. If nothing else, I think it'll be tight. But I just think, yeah. Read that comment. Yeah, I genuinely think that we could do a little bit of a Reading. I'm gonna be optimistic, like I always like to be, and I think I'm gonna go 2-0.
Scorers.
I like it. I'd take a 2-0.
Oh, I mean,
I won't be spending my money on it, but I'd take it.
yeah. I mean, I'd take a draw. Absolutely. If you offered me a 0-0 now, I'd say thank you very much. On to the next one. But you've got to be optimistic, haven't you? Got
to live in hope.
The buzz of when you're there tomorrow. Oh, it's going to be good. Any of you going, Alex, Dom?
I'm going to admire the Punjabi prince from afar.
Celebrate with an onion bhaji.
Vegetable samosas on me if Bart scores.
I love this. This is great. This is the best inside joke ever.
Okay.
If Punjabi Prince starts circling the community, we want credit for this, by the way.
Ben, when you turn up in the crowd tomorrow and accidentally refer to him as a Punjabi Prince, you're going to get some fucking looks from the people around you.
You'll be like, you what?
Hey mate, if it sticks and then everyone starts doing it at every game.
That's it. That's the new crack. That like
Indian flags at Wembley for the playoff finals.
Oh yeah. See, there we go.
Onion bhaji's on Wembley way.
Tifo before the game, the Punjabi Prince with his face in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
I can see it now.
Beautiful.
But anyway, I think we're going to have to bring this very bizarre stream to an end. On that bombshell, in true Clarkson fashion. Oh, by the way, if anyone is going to Watford tomorrow, if you know of anywhere to have a drink beforehand or any sort of that sort of thing, please drop us a message. You see my hat there on the thing. Me and my dad haven't got a clue. So any sort of insight would be very helpful.
I'll just say, I was reading the Watford forum. Like I always have a peek, just the opposition's view, and Watford heavily fancy us tomorrow. Mind, they're not confident at all playing against us.
Fingers crossed. Fingers bloody crossed.
Let's hope they're right.
Who knows?
And on a little bit of positivity.
Yeah, let's end it on some positivity.
Yeah.
Dom, Johnny, Alex, thank you very much. It's been a very interesting stream, very intellectual and
As always,
silly at the same time. But I think that's just fans reacting, you know.
It is. Bit of surrealism.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it, I think. But so yeah, everyone, thank you for watching. Thanks for joining us this evening, and we will see you next week for another edition of Fans React Friday with the quiz.
The quiz.
And in Johnny's front room with all his family there as well. So come and join us for that next week. But whatever you do, have a good game. Have a good week. Enjoy the game tomorrow if you're going. And we'll see you next week.
Ta-ra.
Bye.